So Collision was last night, and I'm sorry about the delay. I've been in bed all day. I've got a really bad headache. So we're gonna talk Collision, and honestly, if it's okay, I'm not gonna go as in depth as I normally do. I'm just gonna ramble about it more or less, because frankly, with the card as well, I don't think it was all incredible. It was a fine card. You could tell it was a double tape, and so I'm gonna not break it down as thoroughly as I normally do, but try and brief it a bit because, again, my head is hurting. So the show actually opened up with Moxley versus Anthony Bowens for the Continental Championship. That's an eliminator match, and the match was fine. It was weird. Like they were trying to go about the whole thing with the op story with Bowens. I thought that was pretty lame because if you're gonna do that, I mean, one, at least follow up on it a bit more consistently, but two, like, I would have had Hook or Shibata at least there. I would have definitely had Shibata there. But Moxley, basically, it was weird because Bowens done well. He was beating the piss out of Moxley for a good bit of it. But Moxley, like, the whole thing about the card on the night, I'm just going to say it right now, you could tell it was double taping because the crowd were not into it. Even with this match, they weren't really into it. And that's insane for a Moxley match. Like, Bowens got no pop. Like, no entrance pop. And that's insane to me because Anthony Bowens, like, used to be so over. It's sad to see. But the match was fine. I mean, it was just... this is the thing. Nothing really stuck out with this match besides Bowens looking better, looking a lot more aggressive with this, killer instinct they're trying to instill to get him to join the ops. But I mean, as a whole, the match was kind of... I don't want to say boring, because it wasn't boring. It might have been because I was watching this like in a worse state. I've had to watch Collision throughout the day. So, but with this, it was fine, a match. It was just kind of bog standard. It felt like it was just there to kind of just have the Ospreay confrontation at the end, which did happen. Obviously, Ospreay attacks Moxley after the match. Moxley runs away. The Death Riders try and stop him, but they don't. Moxley, the way Will, it's a beautiful hidden blade on Moxley. That was great. Then calls out Mox. Mox is running away, and he goes, "Don't go anywhere, you little cunt." It's like Ospreay's really aggressive here, and he basically challenges Moxley to put the belt on the line for the Dynasty match, because that means it's 1v1, 20-minute time limit. But the fact that there's no outside interference, that's what Ospreay was after. Because obviously on Dynamite, they had them all surrounding him. So that was kind of a thing. They do get an answer later in the show. But that was kind of what the match felt like. Its whole need on the card was. It felt like it was only there to kind of set that interaction up and confirm that the belt is on the line. Which, is what it is, really. If they're gonna, to me, they should have, one, done that on Dynamite, or B, just not done it, because, unless you're going to plan to have Ospreay win the belt, but that kind of limits what Ospreay's going to do going forward. I just think the match, again, with Bowens, it didn't feel like a great pick to give Bowens. Not that Bowens is a bad wrestler. I actually think Bowens is a really good wrestler. I just don't think that it benefited him too well. I don't think it does. I don't think anyone's invested in whatever Bowens has to do story-wise, and I just think... Yeah, I feel like if you're going to do the Moxley match, one, it could have been on Dynamite, but two, it could have been anyone. Like, you could, honestly, if they wanted to give him it, they could have given it to Juice, they set him up. But, someone like that, someone a bit more prestige, someone like that. Not really, even as, I was going to say, because this is the thing, what feels weird is, Ospreay's a massive babyface in the company. And, like, with these sort of feuds, they normally try and have, Ospreay's friends involved, but there's none. And I feel like you could have kind of established that here with Moxley's match, but they never, so... That's it, really. But the match was fine. It just didn't grip me. I don't think most of the matches grip me on this card, which was kind of a shame. Might have had, some part to play with how I am. But in terms of an actual match, it's Moxley. It's always going to be of quality. It sounds very snobby to go, it wasn't that good. When it was just, one, didn't feel necessary, and two, it's a Moxley match. It's always going to be of a certain level of quality, so that's important to mention. However, after this, we actually got a small backstage segment with the Don Callis family, which was Okada, Andrade, and Mark Davis, which the main thing is they confirm that Kyle Fletcher is injured. If you've not seen it, he does a nasty little fall on his ankle and his leg, which was horrible to see. That's kind of it, just basically hyping them up for the match tonight, which obviously avenge Kyle, because that's his best friend, and Okada obviously points out to it, like, Kyle is injured, and where is Takeshita? And Andrade is like, So, that was pretty funny. After that, we get the Divine Dominion squash match, which was fine. You know, what you expect, really. After that, you actually get the Moxley and the Death Riders confirming the match for Dynasty. Will have the belt on the line and basically going, Will, you ask for this. Don't forget you asked for this. That type of deal. But after that, we actually get a small little nice surprise, which I didn't expect at all. We get the return of the Hate Syndicate, mainly Bobby Lashley, in the little backstage promo. They basically say in the back and they're looking for more recruits. I don't know who they could add, really. And then they go, let's hate people. So the Hate Syndicate are back. That's very cool. I've kind of missed the Hate Syndicate. I think they're very weird. I think Shelton as a singles is better, but him and Bobby in the tag division is obviously a bit more interesting, getting a bit more bodies in there, and the big attraction. So, and the chant is fucking great. So it's nice to see that they're back. However, after this, we actually get our Willow Nightingale TBS Open Challenge match, which I thought would be Mercedes, and this was really cool. We actually got 3-time AEW Women's World Champion Hiraku I don't know what Shida's first name is. It's Shida. Very nice. I've been thinking about Shida as of late. I always go, where's Shida? Is she ever going to come back? But no, Shida's back. She looked good. The match again wasn't too grabbing. I feel like they could have presented it a bit stronger. Honestly, I would have had a win with someone like that. But against Willow, I kind of get it. I hope Shida stays round. Willow gets the win via the backslide again, which I didn't like. And Shida goes to show that she might turn heel on Willow. But she doesn't. She stops and Willow gives her a thumbs up. Stuff like that. That was basically that. But the big surprise was that it was Shida. And I was very happy about that. I hope we get something with Shida going forward. Maybe her and Tekla have the feud. But there's something that has been confirmed, which I don't want to talk about here. That's definitely going to be the avenue. But either way, if you get Shida involved, that's good. Again, I'm not really a fan of Willow getting the wins with the slide. I feel like that's kind of anticlimactic. I feel like it's very anti-Willow too. I feel like Willow's very much a person who is presented on their striking and their weight in terms of like when Willow does a lariat, it's really good. For her to have a slides pin, I just don't think that works. I feel like that kind of demeans, not demeans her because that sounds silly, but more the sense of like it demeans actual striking ability, and like that's a cheap way to, not cheap, but it's a sneaky way to win. It's like a desperation. Once in a while, cool, but just as a constant, I'm just not a fan of that. I hope that isn't a mainstay, even though it has happened for a while now. But the main thing was, it was Shida, and that's probably the highlight of the entire card, to be honest. But that's it, really. I like Shida. She's pretty good, and honestly, they put her over on commentary, saying like a lot of new fans, which there has been a lot of new AEW fans who might not know who Shida is. Hopefully, they get to experience how good Shida was, because she was really fucking good. After that, though, we actually get our FTR showcase match, which they go against the indie talent. And bro, because it was a white and a black guy, the white guys really fucking stand out because he has a bit of an expression in the match, which I liked. Not that the pair of them weren't good, but it's a showcase match. Very hard to showcase yourself in those matches, ironically. And there's a point where like they roll down, and then he's like, and I goes for the pin, but it's way too late. He just showed a bit of character and gets hit with a paradigm shift. I forget what the FTR finish is called. I always think it's the shatter machine or the paradigm shift, but I forget. But FTR win the match, showcase match, shock. And then Stokely's shocked because before the match they come up with like an absurd amount of security. I thought that was pretty funny. And then Cope and Christian come and attack and basically call them out for the belts and stuff, as you expect. That was it. But Stokely was surprised, like, well, they confirmed it's going to happen. They literally said it on Dynamite, though, we're going to attack them on Collision, essentially. It was like, who's surprised? Why are you surprised? But that building their match, I'm enjoying the build. So that's the main thing. I am enjoying the build with their match, and I think the feud is pretty fun. But the match was fine. That guy, I forgot his name. I remembered it today, but my head's just gone. But he was pretty good. And, yeah, FTR versus Cope and Christian, I'm enjoying a lot. I think they're being really fun. After that, though, we actually get our backstage segment with the Brawling Lovebirds, Mina Shirakawa, Jamie Hayter, and Alex Windsor. And they basically say, look, if we want to go down singles routes, we're okay, because we're friends, but that's my mate, and if she wants to do that. And then basically Jamie Hayter goes, I want to have the world title again, which, good. But then Tekla, she's calling out Tekla, so that's what they confirm. That's the match they're going to do on Dynasty. It's her versus Tekla. And Mina goes, don't just beat her up. Don't beat her. Beat the piss out of it. And she's like, I will. It's like, what? But that's kind of cool. I'm happy Jamie... This problem is with the Jamie Hayter situation is anytime Jamie Hayter is in a singles division match for the world title, I want it to win, but then it's Tekla, and I don't want it to be Tekla, so that's really cool. But either way, I'm happy this match is going. They have obviously a bit of history, and that was their little feud was really fun, so I'm happy it's not dead. I hope they give it a bit more build, but they won't, because Dynasty's like in a week. But either way, it's a good match on paper, and nice little segment to confirm that the Brawling Birds will not just be tag, and I enjoy that. I think that's definitely the way to go, because Alex Windsor as well, great singles, so that's really good. So after this, we actually got my most anticipated match of the night, which was Ciampa versus Juice Robinson. I thought this match was... The crowd weren't into it. They weren't. Juice was great here. Not that Ciampa weren't, but there wasn't really enough grip, and there wasn't a lot of speed to it. The pace was kind of off, which I didn't really like. But the match itself wasn't bad again. It really wasn't. Juice's character work is just incredible here. I think they could have presented Juice a bit stronger. I would have had Juice win. Ciampa wins, but I would have had Juice win just to kind of favour this on. I think there was a lot of legs in this. Juice is, again, funny as hell, going, wee, and, like, whip, you know, shit like that. And then he goes, you like that, Shivani? One thing that's funny in the match is Ciampa goes up to shake Shivani's hand, and he goes like that. And then Nigel McNichols goes, oh, like, it's the fucking heaviest thing ever. That was pretty funny. But as a match, I mean... Both are great wrestlers. Both are really good wrestlers. Some of the best on the roster. And I just think this match could have been a lot more. Again, it disappointed me in terms of my expectation. Again, it's on me. I thought this match would be like the greatest match on Collision ever. It's not. But it's the crowd doesn't help. Not that the crowd were bad, because I think it is. I think it was a double taping. And again, I've been to double tapings. I think they're pretty good. But you can know when a crowd is getting tired. You need that shot in the arm, which is normally Mascara Dorada. But you know what I mean? Like, you can normally tell. I feel like the crowd just went out of it for this match. It was a shame, because I hope they run this back. I hope this isn't a one-time thing. Ciampa's been on a great bit of form. Obviously, Juice is Juice. Juice is excellent. I just feel like you could have done a bit more with this. I do. I feel like... I hope this isn't... Again, I hope it isn't the last time these two face. But I hope it's not the last... I hope it's not a sign of... Oh... I want Juice to continue using singles. I think Juice is a great wrestler. I just want that. I just feel like the match was kind of wrong place, wrong time. Maybe. I don't know. It just feels like this match could have had a lot more legs to it, and it just didn't. Hopefully it ran back for that. But either way, I think it wasn't a bad match. It just didn't grip. That's the problem. It didn't really grip me, the crowd, whatever. That was its problem, but you can't really expect that for every match, especially on a double taping. So fair enough. After this, though, we actually get a backstage segment with Isaiah Cassidy of Private Party, and he's confirming that Mark Quid is injured, which is a shame. But then he basically goes on to say, look, you know, Moxley, you want to see this dog on me? That's right, you know, whatever. And basically confirmed he's going to go on a bit of a singles run. I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all. It's a shame that Mark Quid's injured, especially so soon after they've returned. But hopefully they do something with Isaiah Cassidy and not Anthony Bowens him. But either way, I think it was a shame to hear Mark Quinn's injured. Even though I'm not the biggest Private Party guy, it's good to have them in the division. So it was kind of a shame to get such a bigger hit lost again. Feels like we're getting a few injuries this week, which is a shame. But, you know, hopefully they're all fit for All In. That's the main one. It's the biggest show, but obviously as soon as possible. But All In's the hope. After that, though, we actually get a backstage back of the arena segment between Brody King, Jack Perry, and Darby Allin. Now, obviously, all three of them have issues. Well, Brody and Perry both have issues with Darby. This was a funny little promo. And then Brody goes, Darby, we and you have had a blood feud spilled countless. I've got your name tattooed on a gravestone because I wanted you dead, but I never forgot that you helped me and Bandido for those titles against the Death Riders. And then Jack Perry's just going, you set me on fire. Like, every time he's like, you set me on fire. Like, what the fuck? And then they confirm, like, look, Darby goes, look, we've all got issues, but we've got this trios match. Do you want to team up just for one night? Enemy of our enemies. And they're like, yeah, whatever. And they all walk off. And then Jack Perry walks past and goes, he set me on fire. Like, I swear to God, that's what he does. I thought that was funny as hell. That's a fun trios match. Darby, Perry and Brody should be a really interesting dynamic. Obviously, there is history and tension, but I don't give a fuck. That could be really fun. I'm looking forward to that. After that, though, we actually get the Rascals, Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz versus Andrade and Mark Davis of the Don Callis family. I would say this was probably match of the night, frankly. I think this match was definitely the most fluid. I mean, what you expect, the Rascals look really good. Their flying's really good here. They got a lot of kicks and stuff, through the ropes. Davis is just a monster. Andrade does a lot, but he's obviously a lot more showboaty. Like, I thought there'd be a lot more tension between him and Don Callis, and there isn't. I like how obviously you get the Andrade on the Huzz spot, and he plays into that more, keeps waving at her and stuff. He's definitely the show out here, but Mark Davis is a lot of the heavy lifting. The Rascals look really good again. They're really effective. This match really solidified their roles to me as like, okay, here's like your go-to tag team for like, just banger matches. Not even banger matches, but just solid matches, consistent matches on Collision. I'm not against that. They're really fucking good. Again, the match weren't really gripping to the audience, but Andrade's just so fucking fun. Same with Mark Davis, that's what you're going to expect. I'm going to enjoy that from them. The match ends, obviously, the Don Callis family get the win. They avenge Kyle, obviously. That was the whole thing, was avenging Kyle Fletcher. And then when they leave, Okada and RPG Vice come out. And they go, Okada basically goes to tell them to go attack the Rascals, and they do. They all go up to try and attack them, and then Myron Reed, the third member of the Rascals, comes out and just beats them all away, guards the Rascals, and they all stand tall. It's like, okay, so that's a bit weird. For me, I get RPG Vice, don't get me wrong, I get that, but I don't think he should be beating away Okada and RPG Vice. I think that makes them look, I don't want to say too strong, but you know what I mean? They're definitely pushing Myron Reed on the singles, which is good. I think they're probably going to set up Okada versus Myron Reed. I think that could be the Dynasty match. It feels the most, like, that makes sense. But, yeah, that was it, really. The match was fine. The match was good. Again, it wasn't the greatest match. It was probably match of the night, and that's kind of saying something about the card. Again, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't gripping. But then the Okada stuff at the end with Myron Reed making the Rascals stand tall. Probably going to go Okada and RPG Vice versus the full trio with the Rascals. That makes sense. That could be fun. After this, though, we actually get our main event, which was the 8-man tornado tag. On the one team, we had Mystico, Kevin Knight, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong versus Don Callis. We got the Dogs, which was David Finlay and Clark Connors, and Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta of the Death Riders. This match was chaotic mess that I loved. Kevin Knight steals the show in this match. Claudio's great here with Yuta. The giant swing they hit. Yuta looks a lot better, a lot more serious, which I like. But, again, it's Mystico. Mystico does a lot of dives, obviously. David Finlay and Clark Connors drag Cassidy and Roddy away during the match. So that kind of sets up, one, they're going to do a Dynasty, but two, it makes the match a 2v2. And that was when I thought the match got better. I think the match got better when it was a 2v2 because, Mystico and fucking Kevin Knight are just always going to just be great. They get the win, which I thought was really cool, because Mystico gets Claudio in the La Mystica, and then Kevin Knight does a fucking insane UFO. The height he gets on that again is mesmerising, and then he gets the win. Wheeler looks dead, and that was it. They get the win. Yet the Dogs kind of fade in. Again, I'm not in the greatest of shape, so physically and mentally today, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that could have been on me, that I didn't think the Dogs look great. Clark Connors look great. It's just, I'm waiting for that David Finlay show out, and I'm just not getting it yet. Roddy and Claudio have a great spot, because there's a point where, like, Mystico, Claudio, and I think it's Orange Cassidy, all get, Mystico, Roddy, and Cassidy all get the Scorpion locks, and Claudio runs back in the ring and basically attacks them all, but Roddy just stands firm. And he does it again, and then Roddy stands up and faces him off and starts chopping. That was pretty fucking sick. That's kind of it. Like, the match again was chaotic. The main thing is that the Dogs and the conglomeration, Roddy and Cassidy, dragged away. That kind of sets something up. But Kevin Knight steals the show. Mystico's good. What was funny was Cassidy gets the hands in the pockets, and Kevin Knight runs and jumps over Cassidy. That was really sick. And then he goes up to go high-five Cassidy. But Cassidy's got his hands in his pockets, and Kevin's like, I haven't got pockets. I thought that was pretty funny. But that was the main event. It was a very chaotic main event. Not as chaotic as I thought it would. The speed was definitely there. But I think as an actual match, it was actually a lot more contained than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be a lot more in the crowds and stuff that wasn't. So that was really good. I enjoyed it. I did. I don't think it was better than Andrade and Davis. I think I need to watch this entire Collision again, which is fair. But I don't know, I enjoyed the Andrade one a lot more, but this was really fun. I expected to enjoy this, and I did. That was the main thing. So yeah, that was my thoughts on Collision this week. Again, I'm a bit more brief with this one. I apologise if anyone cares. None of the heads killing me, to be honest. The card, I thought the card was good. I feel like, one, again, I might have to watch it back, I've just said. But also the crowd went into it, that didn't help. I feel like you could add a bit more, you know, I don't know, I just feel like the match needed a bit more. I think the opener didn't help. The opener wasn't a bad match yet, again, Moxley versus Bowens, but I feel like that's kind of a middle in the show. I think if you had the Andrade match, Andrade and Davis at the start, that could have, you know, been a bit more gripping. But I don't know, I feel like the Moxley thing kind of set the tone, and the crowd was just kind of tapping out at that point, which is fair. You know, it's a long tape, and I understand. But either way, I think I'll watch it again. So I might, if I get a change of mind. But I don't want to say I didn't enjoy it. I just think it was kind of bland in sense of not gripped. But, you know, from a wrestling quality point of view, you get some of the greatest wrestlers here. And the only real disappointment, I could say, quote-unquote, was on me, and that was Juice versus Ciampa. I feel like that could have had a bit more, but I hopefully think they could run that back. So that's my thing. But either way, the Collision wasn't bad. It just wasn't... the form of recent weeks for Collision was excellent. This wasn't that, but that's, again, one kind of on me, and the crowd went into it, which is fair. Double taping, I get that, but again, I have to go back and rewatch it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Collision this week. Yeah, a bit more brief again, I apologise. And let me know what you think of the show. What was your thoughts on Shida returning? That's the main thing to talk about here. What was your thoughts on Shida returning?